Welcome back to episode 5 of session 2 of Poker Time. You know, the dynamic that just happened is Aaron just 3-bet folded tens. That was the last hand before we started this session.
I'm sorry, Jonathan, I'm not quite here yet. That happened, but did it really happen?
I still can't believe it.
Poker is nothing to me anymore because what just happened?
I don't know. That if you don't know what we're talking about, go check out the last episode of Poker Time. But here we are, Batiste opening from the small blind with Jack 10 of hearts.
He folded to Randy, Jonathan.
I know. Randy, of course, had, I believe, the Queen 3 off.
Yes. This is a good flop for the Jack 10 of hearts. That's my analysis.
I expect Randy's not going to fold for one bet here. Pretty easy call.
Check, check. It's a near guarantee. Oh, wait.
Well, welcome to the world, Grant.
Why is Batiste betting? Let's ask ourselves that question.
Yeah, I'm not sure, really. Maybe he thinks he can get value out of worse 10s and 9s?
Maybe, but he can't get value out of 9s from freaking Randy, so I don't know if that's the right bet
Well,
there.
maybe he didn't know that until now. No, it is surprising. I agree. It seems like a pretty easy check call, especially against Randy, who is going to float a lot and then bet when you check and things.
Maybe he's trying to fold out all the other jacks so he doesn't have to fade or get called by all the other jacks.
Seems like unreasonable. Maybe he's trying to build a pot for if he hits a straight. It's hard to come up with reasons. Seems like as we like to say, a game theory disaster. Here's Digital Dan, opening the Queen Jack offsuit. Very reasonable.
Of course, it says Pasco, but his name is Digital Dan. He is the digital one.
Randy with the reverse Queen Jack off. Club in the heart.
This is how you find out who the better player is, Jonathan. Give two guys the same hand, put them in a ring together.
See who wins.
Wonka, big favorite here.
Bigger favorite now.
I don't expect Pasco or Digital Dan to be betting too often here, but Randy might decide to bluff. That looks like
saying no one's going to bet, and then they keep betting.
I guess I'm wrong.
It's a reasonable bet for Pasco to make.
It is. He can rep the ace. Randy is super wide. Wonka was in the big blind.
I imagine Wonka's going to take one off and one off only. If Digital Dan were to bet again, I would guess Wonka's just going to give it up.
There's a lot of good cards for Pasco on the turn. That is not really one of them. I was thinking of a club or a king or a 10.
Yep. Let's see if Digital Dan takes... Oh, Wonka's going to donk it. Well, that's going to end this hand.
He's hoping that Dan has an ace and that Dan would check back the turn, right? That's the whole plan.
Got to be what Wonka's assuming. Wonka's also trying to make it so he doesn't have to donk the river. Or he's afraid he's going to go check on the river if he check calls the turn.
He's trying to get a full 3 streets out of a hand like ace-10 there.
Yeah,
and
which is kind of a cool idea.
It is, because I believe Digital Dan would check back the turn there, and he would not get the full 3 streets.
Or if Digital Dan bets the turn, he's almost always going to check back the river.
Yeah.
And with a hand like ace-king, which is going to go bet, guess what? We can get the same value when we bet it ourselves. And truthfully, Dan's probably checking back the turn anyway a lot.
With his queen high,
With his queen high, so it's fine to bet there. Like, I don't know that anything was really lost for Wonka.
I like the line.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Although it is exploitive, and if you continue to play like that, your good opponents are going to figure it out and be able to counteract it.
I mean, as long as you have some bluffs in there, too, you're fine.
Yeah, he's going to have some combo draws, backdoor draws that came in type of thing.
Gut shots.
I don't see Aaron folding here. Oh, he's raising.
Oh, you were right. I don't see Randy folding here.
These guys' combined VPIP is 304%. I believe Aaron will win this hand as the 3-better.
Randy sometimes will call just to float, though. We see him do this.
He has 2 back doors.
Let's see if Aaron does continue.
The 2 in a row stuff is insane. I lived in
Here he
Florida
goes.
when we got Charlie, and then like a week later.
It's like about 100 in his hand there. That's a pot-sized bet. 95. And Randy quickly folds. What do you think about the sizing there, pot size?
I don't know what the point is versus making it like 70. I don't know how that's any better. All it does is cost you money when you get called, I think. I think 70 and 95 pretty much do the same job.
Probably. There are some draws out there. Maybe he's trying to ensure that the worst of those fold. Although I don't know if Randy would fold the worst of those.
I wouldn't expect him to.
How were people getting in the newspaper in like 8 different languages? But how were people getting in the newspaper?
Anybody need anything over here?
Batiste has queen 3. This is a traditional 4-betting hand at this table.
This has been the nuttiest session I think I've ever seen of a game at these stakes. Or maybe any stakes, quite frankly, that aren't play money.
Look at this. What is this? Aaron is calling with 7 deuce. Thorpe has a legit hand. Randy has a legit hand. We are not playing the 7 deuce game. I want to
That's
make
right.
that clear. Aaron just likes to play, and he likes to show up with funky hands, and it's cool. And look at that. He outflops the world.
Flop's the best hand, although Thorpe does have overs in the flush draw.
Thorpe has more equity.
But still, how about that? Aaron's got the best hand right now with the 7 deuce. By the way, calling from the small blind, the worst position at the table. And he donks it. God bless this guy. Turns out that's a great bet.
His sizing is a lot different. No, it's not a lot different. It's actually about pot.
Yeah.
Thorpe is not folding, which he could consider raising against Aaron
Aaron's
there.
donk there, yeah. I don't know if Aaron's donking trips very often. But it's okay to call with Randy behind you, especially. Wow.
Well,
Aaron locks it up on the turn.
Thorpe's
Well-
going to have to pull off a pretty big bluff in order to win this one. He could rep a 6, although he didn't raise the flop on a 2-club board, so it's going to be hard. And that's quads. That's why you call with the 7 deuce.
Apparently, Aaron's definitely going to find a way to show this hand, right?
Yes.
There's no way Aaron doesn't show this hand. He's going to have to bet the river, right?
Back when people still sent emails.
Might get called. It's a chop board right now. What's Aaron supposed to have?
You could have a pocket pair.
He could have a 6 or a deuce. Both of those are reasonable. But he did check the turn also. Let's see if Thorpe
No, he
folds
folded
instantly.
before the camera guy could get to him.
And there's the show.
He's going to show it, yeah.
Fair enough. You call with 7 deuce from the small blind when someone's raised and you make quads. It's okay to show it.
I mean, that's why we're here, right?
Also, let me tell you, it's not like it hurts Action Aaron's reputation.
No.
It just cements it.
His name is Action Aaron.
Yeah.
That's his birth
That's
name.
yeah, it's an actual given. Aaron's his middle name. Action is his first name,
Yeah.
and he goes by Action Aaron.
You don't want to know his last
It's
name.
like calling someone Jean-Michael.
Or Jean-Luc Picard, perhaps.
Jean-Luc. Not Picard, that's saying his last name too. Yeah, his last name
No,
is-
Jean-Luc Picard's first name is Jean-Luc, and his middle name is Picard. Randy's going to play the 6-3.
Pretty sure that's wrong. All right, Wonka's got to put in a 3-bet against Randy's range.
Unless he expects Aaron to 4-bet a lot, which is possible.
Well, a 4-bet would be great because then we want the 3-bet, right? But
no,
you mean,
no,
you mean Aaron to
sorry,
3-bet.
yeah, Aaron to 3-bet.
It's possible, but it's better just to do it yourself. Aaron likes to call.
Aaron might call or 4-bet anyway with 8-5 suited here.
I expect he's going to find a call or fold. I mean, he doesn't 4-bet very often light. He just does it a little bit.
He silenced the demons within himself.
Oh, and look at this. An actual thing is happening.
I believe Dan's just going to call here.
It seems like the right play, especially against Wonka's 3-bet. It's okay to 4-bet. You knock Randy out.
But you don't want a 4-bet fold, which...
No, but at the same point, you also often have the best hand. Like, Wonka's going to be 3-betting Randy's.
And he is
Opening.
4-betting. He makes it 170. And this is
I
going to
don't
be
hate
a
this.
little scary to Wonka with 2 queens here.
Exactly. I wouldn't expect a 5-bet to go in with Wonka in these effective stacks. I expect Wonka's going to call in position, if anything. Also, I'd be afraid. Digital Dan is, the tightest guy at the table, right? And Wonka's the other tightest guy at the table.
Yeah.
So when these guys are 3-betting and 4-betting, they're supposed to have really big hands, and they do. I think it's fine, by the way, for Digital Dan to 4-bet because Wonka's going to have a wider range 3-betting Randy when he's in the cutoff.
And you think it's a 4-bet fold spot, though?
Yeah, I guess Wonka.
With these
do.
effective stacks, I think it
do.
has to be.
Well-
And Digital Dan's going to lose some money here.
Yeah. Let's see how much and how quickly it goes.
I don't expect any raise to go in on the flop. I think it's just going to go bet call here.
Well, Digital Dan might go for the check raise. That's the only way I think we'd get all in.
Doesn't look like it.
No.
Looks like he's going to bet 225, 200, something like that.
There's no way Wonka can fold, but I don't know if he loves it. He's like, well, I can beat jacks, but I can't beat tens. And
beat
I can't
nines.
beat queens, and I can't beat aces, and I can't beat kings. And I don't know if Dan would, 4-bet nines.
And you can beat ace king for now.
Our hand is too good to fold, so don't get me wrong.
It is, but it's definitely not a great board for us against Dan's 4-betting range.
Correct. Because we're heads up, though, Dan may also have more ace kings and ace queens, although we block ace queen, than we might expect when he continues here. Like if sometimes when someone 4-bets, the whole world calls at this table.
Yeah.
And then Dan's probably going to be less likely to put in the C-bet, but here you'd expect it.
We've got just over a pot-sized bet left for Wonka at this point.
This feels like they're getting it in right now. I mean,
Yeah.
how do they not get it in right now?
It's not a comfortable spot for either player. More so uncomfortable for Wonka, I think, based on all of the things we mentioned on the flop about Dan's range
I mean,
here.
what's Dan supposed to really be afraid of? 2 10s, right? Maybe 2 8s?
Yeah. 2 10s, potentially a weirdly played 10-8 suited, but that's
I
unlikely.
mean, whatever. Dan checks.
Wonka's supposed to be afraid of everything, right?
Yeah. There's one hand he should be able to beat at this point. Although now it looks like he can beat ace-king also, right?
Yeah.
This is an interesting check by Digital Dan. Try and keep tens in the game if Wonka somehow has ace-10 suited or something. This check will do that, and by betting, wow, and Wonka checks it back.
I think that's the right play.
Well, this is a really favorable run out for Wonka. Now they have to get
I believe
it,
it's
don't they?
going to go bet call here. Dan's going to bet for value, try to get some sort of thin value.
Someone has to bet, yeah.
And Wonka is going to be sad and call. That is what I think is going to happen.
It seems like it's hard to get value if you're Wonka if you raise. Let's see how much Dan bets.
It's far too small of a bet for Wonka to consider folding, even though...
300, right?
And you can see the look.
Easy call for Wonka. Look, he doesn't love it, but he knows he can't ever fold, and he's going to be very happy to see he's got the best of it. I think Digital Dan's lucky not to have given Wonka the full double here, I got to tell you.
How do you think that goes down? They just go 3 streets?
They go 3 straight. If Dan Dan bets the turn, Wonka may feel just like, I might as well get it in because we're getting it in anyway. Like, let's go, whatever.
Let me ask you, what do you think Wonka does if Dan moves in for more than pot on the turn?
Ooh, I think it's a really tough spot, and I think Wonka ultimately finds a call.
I think he probably does, but I don't know if that's right or wrong.
I don't know either.
We saw that Dan checked jacks. You'd expect Dan might do that with pocket aces or pocket kings, but you don't expect him to do it with many worse hands than queens.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of a boring table. So.
It may be incorrect, but we're going to be getting a great price, and it's so hard to have a hand this good on a board like that, you know? Heads up, man. So hard.
Meanwhile, Randy has raised blind under the gun and has a legitimate under the gun raising hand.
And Aaron says, well, I have a non-legitimate 3-betting hand.
But
so
it's just like, it's the big blind. It's not like an under the gun raise. It's not really the same.
It's different. No, I like if Aaron's going to play the hand that he's 3-betting it. I think that's great.
That's a good idea.
Thing is, Randy has a surprisingly good hand. Like
He does.
Saying. Let's see but you know what? If he misses the flop, it doesn't matter. See? Aaron has the best hand, but Aaron's going to win probably.
This is the type of board Randy might check call and then lead the turn on. I've seen him do stuff like that before.
That's a great point. Yeah, he's calling all right.
He already called.
Look how quickly he calls, too.
I'll just keep calling.
I like how quickly he calls. I think that's kind of cool.
Well, it's not something you'd ever expect someone with a 10 would do, though, when they call that quickly.
Somebody at the table needs to say, Aaron has 3 pair. Stop saying that, everybody.
Aaron checks it back. I don't hate that check at all. I think that's
what I would do. That's gonna kill the action, or Randy's gonna rep it.
Randy's like, king high is good enough, and Aaron says
King high.
3 pair.
So do you think Randy was calling the flop because he thought he was winning sometimes?
You were lying at the poker table?
No. I think he was calling the flop mostly because he was hoping to hit a Broadway card on the turn. Sorry, a paint card on the turn. And when that didn't happen, by the way, a 9 would have been a good card too. When that didn't happen and Aaron checked it back on the turn, then Randy maybe was going to take a shot. But when the ace comes,
Yeah. That's
Randy's
all
like,
over.
well, that feels like it's Aaron's card, yeah. Like, Aaron's the one who's supposed to have that ace.
Yeah, he
the two of
does.
them, based on the way he played it, right? He has a lot of aces there.
He needs to
His
play
ace-jack and stuff.
Play, so it's like,
You gotta try.
it's all junior.
You can see Batiste stack overflowing there. It's nice to have all those chips.
Sure, you hit a 1-outer on the turn in
Yeah.
a 5K pot. That's the way you do it, you know?
You're like Jake Dahl, but tighter.
Oh, doll.
Thank you. Thank you, Brittany.
Digital Dan, I assume, is going to play the 10-7 suited on the button. There we go.
Looks like the cameraman knew that and already moved on.
Cameraman, maybe just like that angle.
95.
Randy, of course, going to play the 8-4.
No, he's gonna raise the 8-4.
Oh, well, he's playing it. And folds out action. Aaron's king 9.
Will Thorpe find a fold to a 3-bet? He has never
He
folded
never,
to a 3-bet
ever folds
in
it.
his life.
Oh, and he folds the best hand to a 3-bet. We're in a dominating spot.
Dan is getting a good price with a playable hand here, and
Let's
he, of course, has Randy in deep trouble with the 10-7 of diamonds.
Thorpe is the guy who called the 3-bet with 4-7 suited. I can't believe it.
4-7 suited plays better against a 3-bet than ace-8 off, although it is a Randy 3-bet.
Not against a Randy 3-bet. I'll take the ace-8 off all day. Dan's just going to lose, and Randy just shows the power of aggression.
That's why I said it.
Power of no fear.
It's a very powerful thing, especially in a no-limit cash game where everybody is pretty deep stacked, to always be threatening a ton of money. Like, if you want to keep playing with me by the river, you're going to have to buy in again a lot of the time. It's going to hurt.
It's crazy, though, because it isn't like these guys have been playing with Randy now for hours, and so they know how crazy he is. They see him turn over some hands, and still, you just got to fold a lot. It's really amazing.
The
how that
emotional
works.
pain of losing $2,000 and buying in for $2,000 more dollars when you just didn't have to because you heard with middle pair it's a very painful feeling.
Sure, and you feel stupid. You just feel dumb. Batiste's gonna play this one. I
Probably a
wouldn't be
3-bet.
surprised. I'd
Probably a
expect
3-bet. Right?
Unless he wants to keep Randy in. He is. He's just gonna call. Randy insta calls with the 10-6.
Wonka.
Getting the world's greatest price, but it's a hand. He just wants to stay out of marginal spots, it looks
Yeah,
like.
it's just one of those hands where if you flop one pair, you never really know where you are.
And Wonka wants to know where he is. So he's just not going to put money in. It's a very different approach than all these other guys.
Flush draw here for Digital Dan.
That's about it. Batiste does flop a second pair.
He's going to bet it.
Sure, they checked it to him. Seems reasonable.
I believe Dan will be calling.
Dan could find a raise if he wants, but a call is reasonable as well.
Just calls.
Problem with just the call here is being out of position, especially when a heart comes, just so hard to get paid.
It is.
Let's see if Batiste makes a second bet here. I'm going to predict he will.
I think I think it would be a smart bet too because it doesn't seem too frequent that Dan would have a queen here because Dan did not bet the flop.
Agreed. So we have the best hand a lot, and all the draws did not come in. I think Dan's probably going to have to call getting this price, too.
This is a pretty good price Batiste is laying Dan. I think he's trying to make sure he can get called by worse nines still by setting this price.
By the way, when Batiste bets this small, a raise is not the worst idea for Digital Dan. But a call's fine, too. A king is good. A heart is good. There it is. Let's see if Dan can get value, though. I don't think he can.
Did you see the change in Dan's face there?
Look at the insta-check. Batiste knows. That's one of the cards that Batiste doesn't want to see a king, an 8, or a heart. Everything else he probably will check anyway, but he's going to feel very comfortable with. He might even go for some value, actually.
I don't think Dan was going to get paid even if he bet there.
I agree.
But
I don't think there's any getting paid.
I don't know if there was anything there, but go back to when we showed Dan on the river there and take a look at his face and see he was smiling and laughing and then kind of a wash went over his face when he realized he made the flush. I don't know if there was something there, if that was just a natural progression of his facial expression, but it's something to look at.
Right on.
King high?
Will Thorpe pull the errand? No, he will not.
Yeah.
Digital Dan with the call.
9-7 suited, which he lost a lot of money with a 9-7 against Thorpe in the last episode.
That's right.
Or 2 episodes ago, I believe.
This is the problem with calling when you've got a guy like Randy and Aaron behind you.
And
They're just going
Randy's-
to raise it up anyway.
But you know you have Randy dominated.
You don't know that.
You, of course, know that.
Wonka's considering, wow, Wonka calls with the King 8 suited.
That's a bit out of character for him.
I'm surprised. Not that it's necessarily a bad call, but it's just he has not been calling with these types of hands.
I would have expected a 3-bet, but maybe he knows Randy's calling so frequently he doesn't want to play out of position in a bigger pot.
Well, he's right. Randy's definitely going to call the 3-bet, although maybe not this
Maybe not with the worst hand in poker.
But a lot of time is Randy's going to continue because he always does, and I think it's just going to work out.
I mean, what can these guys do?
They can raise.
Digital Dan has flopped a gut shot on a 3-flush board. I mean,
Randy gets to win with the 7 deuce, and he shows it. Nice.
this is the side of aggression that just works. You know, when your opponents are missing, you're raising, you're 3-betting a lot, and they can't do anything about it. You just get to win the pot with 7 deuce.
It's not true. You absolutely can do things about it. You can fight back.
You can.
These guys just are choosing not to.
Right, I agree. But sometimes the table will bend to your will. And at this point in the session, it seems that that's what's happening for Randy.
Well, Wonka and Digital Dan are the types of guys who are not going to fight back. They're more going to like lay in the weeds and hope you keep putting chips in, which may not be wrong. That's probably the right strategy
Right,
against
and
Randy
for
anyway.
now, Randy's on top, but there might come a time when Randy loses a $3,000 pot because they laid in the weeds at the right time.
Exactly. Like Randy's very well may keep firing. By the way, Digital Dan does balance his calling range,
Yeah,
showing
nice.
us he's got not just the 9-7 suited, but also the queens. And look at this beautiful setup for him now.
I like it.
It's going to get, looks like a call from Aaron as well.
I believe he will be 3-betting.
I would be shocked if we don't see a big 3-bet from Digital Dan.
I wonder
right
if
here.
Thorpe will call with the ace-10 off.
I expect he will. I expect Randy's going to call also.
Yeah, Batiste will not, I think.
I'd be really surprised.
How much we got here?
It's like 105. That's a pretty good sizing. I might go even bigger. But
I might go 125, but it's close enough.
At least it's over 100. I feel like sometimes you see this limp re-raise with all these people, and it's like 80, and it's just never going to get through. You have to threaten to get through at least.
You want to get heads up, or
Look at this.
I guess Batiste is in the mood to play.
Well, we're going to see a lot of players in this hand. Oh, and Randy folds.
Whoa,
the
that's
suited
unexpected.
connector.
We got Randy and Aaron, the ones who fold, and
And
Thorpe folds.
This is shocking.
Finally got the setup.
That's the wrong guy to call. That's the wrong hand to call. I mean, Digital Dan, if he knew what it was, he'd be so thrilled.
This is just over.
By the way, Randy would have flopped the whole world right
Yeah,
there.
the gut shot straight flush draw. But this is over. Batista's going to fold.
Yes. He does have 2 back doors, but he's not going to... I doubt he's going to call 125 here. His position in 2 back doors...
No.
That's got to be what he's thinking about.
If he decides to call, I think his plan would be all diamonds, he's going to put a lot of pressure on Dan. All jacks, he's going to put a lot of pressure on Dan. And all sevens, he's going to put a lot of pressure on Dan.
Absolutely. And by the way, here he is. He's going to call. And a heart, he's going to have to do the same.
All right, this is cool.
Yeah, this is great. He's not doing this just randomly, people. That is not a good card, though, for the continue, although he does pick up a gut shot.
Right, but for the story, it's not amazing.
Right. If Dan checks... We might see a check back. I guess you just can't check it back if you're Batista, though, if you get the
No,
check.
I don't know if you can. You could have certain cards that you decide to check back on.
This is not one of them. I think we picked up a little bit of equity. We probably have to bet.
I think it's more about the representation on the equity with the
Yeah.
call on the flop. Though.
You know what?
We want
You're
a
right.
jack or a diamond.
I agree with you. Well, Dan bets 300.
Now it's over.
Gotta believe that's the end.
It was a cool try, Batiste, but I think you got to pack it up and go home.
Batiste hates it now because he actually did pick up gut shot equity. But there's nothing to do but fold. But he's thinking about it. Well, let's look at his moves. He could move Dan in. Dan's got 1,000 behind. It's the right stack size to do it. But this is the when he lifts his hand up like that, he usually throws it.
What would a raise look like? What cards would be in Batiste's hand for him to raise?
2 sevens.
Which he decided not to raise on the flush
flop.
draw flop.
Yeah, but that's okay.
That's okay.
You could decide to do that when your head's up in position.
2 sevens, maybe 2 jacks,
Yep. That's about it.
maybe 2 threes.
Okay. But less likely to have to. No, but it could be 2 threes because he just.
I guess you could have jack 7 suited if you can have 10-6 suited.
This guy does not like folding. That was a little too long there, Batiste.
Right. Well, because the plan didn't get to happen. I think he had the plan that we laid out, and he just didn't get to happen, and it's so sad because it's a fun plan.
Yeah, he's like, any heart I get to continue. If a jack or a 7 comes, Dan's going to check. I'm going to bet, and I'm going to win. Turns out you probably wouldn't have won unless you moved him in on the river, but
It's like if
still.
It's like if Tim Robbins didn't actually escape the prison in Shawshank Redemption, you know? He had the plan, and the plan just didn't happen. He didn't get to go to that beach in Mexico. That's how Batiste feels. He's just stuck
Well,
in...
that's bad, isn't
He's
it?
stuck in the prison.
Who
That's why
wants
he's so
that?
sad.
Is Morgan Freeman there?
Morgan Freeman is not there. He's on the beach without you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Andy was a smart guy.
That's a horrible Morgan Freeman impression. Was that supposed to be Morgan Freeman?
I'm not sure what that was. That was just the movie. It wasn't Morgan Freeman. I was doing an impression of the Shawshank.
What, did Wonka just
Redemption.
raise to 20 with 10-3 suited, or did we get the graphics
That
wrong?
seems like it can't be right, but we do have a 3-bet from Action Aaron, so maybe that's right.
That's Wonka's opening it up, I guess. Maybe Batiste talk finally got to him.
Digital Dan is deep enough to call here, but chooses not to.
Well,
Probably
there's
right.
a-
He's going to be out of position.
There's a threat of the 4-bet from Wonka as well.
Yeah. No, it's Randy who did the open, not Wonka. That was just incorrect.
Give it a go.
Yeah, they're going to go fix that. There we go. Randy with 2 5s. So
We
it's
have-
Randy with the 2 5s against the ace queen of Action Aaron.
That seems more likely what's happening, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Actual 2 normal hands and
Great
Action
flop for Aaron.
Definitely going to continue here.
I don't know. You could consider checking against Randy. Randy's going to barrel a lot. Although Randy's going to call with nothing and barrel a lot anyway if you bet.
Also, Aaron's the guy who 3-bets with nothing and then always C-bets. How can he not C-bet top?
Right. Yeah, I agree. That's
Especially against Randy, who's going to call. I expect him to call once here with 2 5s. Let's see if he does. Yep.
Do you think he's going to bet the turn regardless of what it is?
Action Aaron?
No, Randy.
No, but I think if a 9 pairs, if the board pairs, he might bet the turn. I don't expect him to bet the turn here.
It's a slightly scary card for
It's a
Aaron.
bit of a give-up card for Randy, though, because, like, King Jack gets there. Aaron would actually probably bet Ace-10 sometimes.
9-10 suited got there for Randy. Potentially Aaron.
But it's not a great card for either guy, really, but Aaron's got to think he mostly has the best hand still. And I got to believe Randy's going to give up now. Let's see.
I think this bet is okay because of Aaron's reputation,
Yeah.
but I'd be a little worried about what I'm getting called by from a standard player.
King-Queen would have to call you.
If you're Aaron,
Yeah, Queen
King-
Jack.
King
King
Queen
Queen
would-
and Queen Jack.
Queen Jack will have to call you. King Queen would
Jack
have
10.
have to consider folding.
Yeah, but I expect when it picks up the gut shot, it's going to call. Jack 10's definitely going to call. Has a pair
Yeah.
and an open ender. But there's not too much out there. You're right. We're just a stubborn, I'm not folding.
Yeah, which Randy could be that guy.
I mean, Aaron makes a lot of triple barrel bluffs, so it's not bad to just keep betting when you've got something good. You know?
Meanwhile, Randy has raised blind under the gun again. This time, not with a lucky, legitimate hand. But
To be clear, that's not a straddle. It's a dead raise, so it's a normal raise. He just doesn't know what his cards are. So it's like a minus. Straddle minus, I think is what I'm going to call
and
that.
Thorpe decides to limp the button with queen nine. I think I would have preferred a raise there. It's essentially a limp. I don't really mean. I mean, it's a call of a raise, but it's technically.
Yeah, and I think it's a raise if you're going to play it.
Ooh, Batiste has aces, and he 3-bets really small.
Well, Digital Dan is not going to fold. That's
No.
what I'm going to say. Let's see if Thorpe.
Thorpe, I mean, it's only 45 to call.
He's on the button. He's supposed to call this.
And at this point, Dan is going to call.
They're all relatively deep here. It's a pretty easy call for the digital. No! Digital one.
Turns out to be a great
What are
decision.
you doing? Is it a great decision? Though, just because you're behind doesn't mean it's a good decision. I think it's a bad decision.
I mean, he's really far behind. I mean, results-oriented style.
I think it's a bad decision because of all the implied odds.
Batiste might get one street of value out of the gut
I
shot
ex-
with 2 overs.
I expect he will. Thorpe also has the backdoor flush
Ooh, he
draw.
checks. That's interesting.
I love it. That's a check on. I check on that kind of board, sort of a check.
That 5 is a great card for Batiste.
I would guess that's going to end.
Looks like
it.
a small bet. 55. Very small bet.
Batiste looks like he's got ace king when he plays it like this, doesn't he? But
Each time we play a hand together, I have this.
And he shows it.
that was an interestingly played hand. See, Digital Dan now really regrets not calling. With the king jack
he
off.
could have had a pair of 5s
Yeah,
with
he's
king and
drawing a trip 5s, man.
Yeah.
Or 2 pair. Kings up, jacks up. Come on.
I apologize for my indiscretions.
Okay.
Dan, I had aces that hand. Why do you have to be eating? Wait, you would.
Oh, Digital Dan was eating. So-
No,
So-
Aaron was eating. He's just thinking Aaron would have been in the hand.
Oh. Who knows what would happen then? Yeah. Batiste checks and Aaron's just probably gonna go bet. I mean, he could have raised here, but whatevs.
I have to check that.
Let's find a check as well.
If I check all the time.
What's that? You're gonna lose your name, actually. Yeah.
I believe Randy will win this. Nope, there's a 10 on the board. I didn't even notice that.
He's got the gut shot in the over. But if he hits any of that stuff, that'll be the end of.
Well, he's got the
days.
diamond now and
Well,
the gut shot.
Batista's got trips. That was a heck of a card, people. I mean, he really does have to call this turn, I think. Blind
The
versus
9 of
blind.
diamonds isn't always good, though.
Not always, but
Ooh,
it's
and then
good
he-
enough of the time.
He gets to win. He's going to bet for value here. It's tiny bet, and Batiste is probably going to fold.
Look at that. He's just going to throw away the trip 10s like it's nothing. For 25, I probably would have found a call, I got to tell you.
You could raise. You got a blocker to the full house.
I might just call with trip 10s. I think it's good enough against Randy.
I might raise because I'm cool.
Probably works. I'm not 100% sure.
You make a 125 there, Randy's going to fold.
Probably.
Randy puts in a lot of aggression, but he's not liable to call the river super light.
That's true. We saw him call a big river raise with a set on a 4 straight board.
That was a strangely played hand all around, though. It's kind
It
of
was.
like, I hope it's okay type of call.
Yeah, and it was against Aaron, who's... Although none of these guys really put in big river raises as bluffs very often. At all. Or most people in the world,
Right.
by the way.
That's fine. Take it
I'd
out
like
my
to see
pen.
Thorpe raise more
Yeah, me too.
than 20 when Aaron limps. Yeah, make it
Agreed.
35, make it 40.
Yeah,
Take a page out of Wonka's book. That's what Wonka's been doing.
I like that a lot. See if Batiste... And also this way you get to charge Batiste. Instead, or like either you knock him out or you charge him more with the ace-10, which is something you'd want to do. You might just knock him out if you make it 35.
There's a 0% chance Aaron's folding the 6-5 once he limps, and he shouldn't
Oh, of course.
once he limps.
Agreed. I mean, it's only 15 more. Look at the price he's getting. He really does have to call.
Never know when I might get there.
And this is going to come down to Thorpe and Aaron, it looks like. Thorpe checks. That's interesting.
Sure. The queen high board.
Gut shot now for Aaron to go along with his pair. He's going to bet it.
Gotta believe Thorpe's going to just make an easy call here.
And Batiste is going to fold or raise. Probably fold. There it
Yeah.
goes.
Let's see what comes and what Aaron decides to do with this river.
Another queen. I think it's going to go check, check. Although I think Thorpe should bet if Aaron checks.
Looks like Aaron's going to bet here.
So is this a bluff or a value bet?
I hope it's a bluff.
To target exactly Thorpe's hand. 9s, 10s, jacks.
7s. Try and get rid of 7s.
Yeah, he called.
Yeah.
That's an easy call.
Okay, yours is better.
I think that bet might have been a mistake by Aaron on the river.
Yeah. I don't, and I said I hope it's a bluff. I don't know that it was. I think it was just a bet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think there was the intention of value or bluff. If anything, it's a merge. But it's sort of like I'm just going to bet because I've got a pair, and I don't know.
I don't think ace high is there three
I don't really
ways on
wanna
the
check.
turn.
Yeah.
So if ace high is not there, we can't get value. And all of Thorpe's pairs are better than a 5. He's probably just going to fold a pair of deuces on the turn.
With Batiste behind him.
The queen pairs, Thorpe's never folding a pair once the queen pairs, so I don't think it's a very good idea to try to get value there.
I mean, the one thing, when you have Action Aaron's reputation, you can make thinner bets for value than you otherwise could. I don't know if that's what was going on, though. Hey, look at this. 2 actual hands. Very exciting. Digital Dan
He's going to 3-bet.
pulls the trigger on the 3-bet. I like it.
Opening is, we know Thorpe's not folding this hand, and he shouldn't.
No, but this is a good play. Digital Dan now going to isolate much more of the time. Look at this. Everyone just gets out of the way. Now, they all hands they were probably going to fold anyway, but who knows with Randy and Aaron in there.
And Dan, at this point, you got to think is a big favorite to win this hand on most boards, as long as he decides to continue.
It says 48%, but it's more like 75%, 80%.
Not anymore.
This is a tougher board for him to win with. This is actually a really brutal flop for him.
How's he going to win on this board? A tougher board?
Club, buddy.
He could go all in for 1.8K, and Thorpe will call.
Yeah, no, he's going to need running clubs or running straight or running full house.
Does Thorpe looks like he's going to raise?
Yep, he's going to raise right away. He did get 3-bet by one of the tighter players.
Which, you know what? If Dan puts in a 3-bet now, it's not comfortable for Thorpe's hand. It looks like one of the bigger sets at that point.
It's true, but we've seen Dan lose his mind a little bit with overpairs.
Not in that way.
Not to the degree of like.
He would never 3-bet aces or kings here.
I'm not sure if that's true.
I'm going to give him the credit and say
I know, but
he
you
would.
keep saying you guarantee Batiste isn't going to bet, and then he bets. So.
Yeah, well, my guarantees are worth nothing.
Hey, it's
what?
quads.
Well,
we know who's going to win now. Thorpe checks. I don't like that check at all.
What if the queen pairs and Thorpe folds? Dan could win.
What if Thorpe gets shot in the head? Dan could win.
The queen does pair.
It's the worst card in the world for Dan. There's 2 bad cards. That was one of them.
Let's just hope he doesn't raise for his sake.
You'd have to expect you're going to raise a lot here.
What's the point of raising?
You want to get called by a worse hand.
Which one?
So, Jack.
That's never happening. Jack is folding if you raise the river.
You're folding Jack. I don't know if Thorpe is folding Jack.
I believe Thorpe is folding Jack if we raise the river.
I know you keep saying what you believe these people are going to do, but they keep surprising us. Dan just calls. That's a great just call.
To be clear, are you advocating a raise by Dan?
No.
Okay.
I just thought he really might do it.
It is a great just call. In the moment, it's hard not to pull the trigger on a raise, but I think it's a pretty clear just call.
I mean, you would think it's really hard to get called by anything worse. And by the way, Queen Jack has got you smashed.
Well,
to pieces,
that's
which
a
is the
big
real
reason.
problem.
That's a big part of what I'm saying here. Not,
if we have
not
Queen
just
Jack,
quads.
If we have Queen Jack, we have to raise.
Oh, absolutely, we have to raise with Queen Jack.
Yeah. But a lot of players are going to raise with top full house, period. And
well, if the Jack was a 4, I think we should raise.
here's the thing. If you're Action Aaron, you probably are supposed to raise with that, right? Because you can show up with so many crazy hands.
I suppose there's an argument for that, but with the Jack being out there and that being a legit hand that Thorpe could have, if it's a 4 instead of a Jack, then we have the second nuts effectively, so it's a very different story.
I mean, when the line Thorpe takes, it really does look like Queen Jack. Also, not quad 8s, but Queen Jack.
It could be quad 8s too, but, that's hard to have.
Yeah, it could be, but when he checks the turn, that makes all the sense in the world with Queen Jack.
All right, Wonka's turn to get quads here.
Gotta believe he's gonna 3-bet this, right? To isolate again. Gonna see another isolation.
Will you give
play?
me 3-1 to see if he gets quads? I say he gets quads.
Yeah, sure.
I forgot to
How much
shake.
you wanna
I
go?
forgot to shake your
How
hand.
much
I
you
guess
wanna
we
go?
can't do it. I'm sorry.
$1,000.
Oh.
$1,000. It's fine.
Tonight, but even you would have.
He didn't get quads.
Nice.
You owe me $1,000.
Nice show, Batiste. Very nice show. He showed the 5-3 for some reason.
Gotta stop booking these nets for these games.
He's trying to show Wonka that his range is loose, and he's upset with Wonka for Wonka's tight range. He's not going to give Wonka action. That's what he's doing there.
I don't know. What he did was give Wonka $20. That's all I know. Everything else is just conjecture.
5 deuce suited under the gun. I got to believe Batiste is feeling a little jovial. He's going to play this hand.
Randy, easy 3-bet. And Aaron just throws the money in, the 5-3 suited. He does have Batiste dominated.
3 bets are meaningless in this world.
It's true. 3 ways.
Randy is a massive favorite here.
What are you looking at me for?
Not anymore.
Batiste flops an open ender. Aaron flops a pair and backdoors. Randy flops nothing burger. He's going to bet 100 anyway.
Easy call for Well, I guess it's an easy call for Aaron. I was going to say it's an easy call for Batiste. Batiste can consider raising here, of
He
course.
can call or raise. These guys are hard to raise against because you never know what they're going to do, especially when you have a draw that you don't want to fold.
It's true.
This pot just got inflated.
Yeah, didn't take long. That's a great card for Batiste.
He now picks up the flush draw. Nobody has a queen. Batiste has a good chance to win this hand either by actually getting there or by bluffing the river.
Yeah. See if Aaron decides to bet. If Aaron bets here, he might win. Nope. That was his big chance to win. It's going to be hard to win now because you have to believe Batiste is going to take a shot.
Well, nobody
here, right?
really has anything here. Whoever decides to bet is probably going to win.
Turns out Aaron doesn't have to bet, but Batiste is not going to give him a chance to check it back.
What is Batiste repping here?
Jack 8.
Yep, that seems about right.
There's not too much, really. I guess
He could have a set that he's slow played on the flop.
it's so unlikely against these guys he would do that.
It is. Maybe he could have... I don't know. It's not a great representation,
It
but I
is
think
not.
it's going to work.
I think it's going to work anyway. Randy really can't call, as we see, and Aaron's got bottom pair, no kicker. So if Batiste is not value betting an 8 is the thing.
If Aaron makes this call, we need to get a big stamp and label him unbluffable on his forehead.
This would be a great call. But at the same point, when we're putting the pieces together, I would not think that Batiste has the hand he has, but I might think he has 5-6.
I might think he has 5-6. Although that's the thing, there aren't that many draws out there either. So
No.
it's hard to think of value, hard to think of draws. We have a very low in our distribution hand as Aaron. I think a fold is in order, even though the story is not perfect from Batiste.
And we do block 5-6 also. We've got a 5 in our hand. And
We
you got to
do.
believe Batiste is only opening 5-6 suited under the gun, so there's 3 5-6s in the world.
And Batiste gets it through. It's a nice
It's a
play.
reasonable bet. It's a reasonable fold, excuse
And
me.
he
by
shows
Aaron.
it. I don't know if you want to show these guys that, but
Well-
he's showing that he's willing to put it in.
I think what his plan is probably not to bluff now for a while.
Yeah, I think that's probably the plan, and we're going to see if that plan comes to fruition in the future because this is the end of this episode.
Yeah, we'll see you next Tuesday for the next episode of Poker Time.